Hi, everybody. Welcome to Healthcare Sucks. And with that, we're going to jump right into some news going on and some other updates. Plus, I'd like to bring to you the official clock. Here's the official clock one more time, in case you missed it on another video. That is 14 days from Super Bowl Sunday. Clock already ticking down. 14 days, we will know what I feel is the actual USA numbers for ill, and we'll have a better vision on it. And hope to God it's a good vision, not a bad one. In other words, I hope things get better, not worse. But with that being said, I'm not going to hold my breath. And I wouldn't ask you to hold your breath. As a matter of fact, I did a video prior to this on supplies and getting prepared. You might take that. We're also going to do some on some other things that we need to keep in mind. And with that, here's the video.
Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Darren Jordan. The coronavirus has so far killed more than 300 people, with at least 14,000 infected in over 20 countries. It's been just over a month since the disease was first detected in China's Wuhan city. A global health emergency has since been declared, and countries are racing to stop it spreading. But the ability of poorer countries to handle any outbreak is causing concern. Scott Heidler takes a look at the growing crisis in China.
One of the purpose-built coronavirus hospitals in Wuhan will open its doors on Monday. Another is due to go online in the coming days. Together, Chinese officials say more than 2,000 patients with the virus will be able to get care at the new facilities.
And that's impressive, guys. You know, over here in Lincoln City, Oregon, they spent $42 million on a new addition, Samaritan, like they need the money and they do such wonderful things over here. Real quick, Samaritan got billions, or at least multi-millions, let's just say, excuse me, take that back, multi-millions from the Obama era that was instituted by our wonderful Governor Kitzhaber, who him and his ex-girlfriend, not wife, invested with friends in Samaritan stocks, and then he boosted up that and basically made money off the stocks, and they let him walk away all quietly. He was never prosecuted. Not for cheating on his wife, not for basically what Martha Stewart got hammered from Comey. Yeah, that Comey. Inside trading. Yeah, they let him walk. So long story short, if they can build this in a week over there, we should be able to build it in a few months to a year. I mean, it ain't a tenth of the size. So that's a whole nother story for another time. So here's some of this.
But with urgent calls for more supplies and warnings of understaffed and overworked medical teams at the existing Wuhan hospitals, these new facilities will probably take some time before they can run at full capacity. This as the announcement health officials around the world have been bracing for. The first coronavirus death outside of China. A 44-year-old Chinese man from Wuhan died on Saturday in the Philippines.
In his last few days, the patient was stable and showed signs of improvement. However, the condition of the patient deteriorated within the last 24 hours, resulting in his demise.
More countries are flying their citizens out of Hubei province, and New Zealand has joined the list of nations barring non-citizens who have recently traveled to China from entering. As this was supposed to be the end of the extended Lunar New Year holiday, the streets of Beijing should be bustling. But the government here has said only essential workers will return, the others not for another week at least. Businesses and private enterprises are doing the same. Many are stuck inside their homes. Millions of Chinese are taking to social media to talk about the coronavirus, mostly venting frustration on the slow reaction of the Wuhan government when the virus was first discovered. and how donations have been diverted or delayed. This story about a TV crew stopped from reporting on the work of the Wuhan Red Cross received nearly 300,000 comments. Chinese officials are also taking to social media, using it to notify the public about details of cases of coronavirus. So those who traveled on the same flights, trains, or buses as infected patients and were possibly exposed can get tested to try and prevent the virus from spreading further. Scott Heidler, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Well, countries around the world have announced measures to try to control the virus. The Philippines, New Zealand, US, and Australia are denying entry to foreign visitors who've recently traveled to China. Russia and Vietnam are restricting visas. Singapore, Mongolia, Nepal, and other nations have closed their borders with China. Governments are flying their citizens from China, and those coming from Hubei province, where the outbreak started, will be quarantined for 2 weeks. More airlines have suspended flights to China. Those include United and American Airlines, New Zealand Air, British Airways, Qatar Airways, Vietnam Airlines, and others. But the World Health Organization has advised against such action. It says travel restrictions can hamper the supply of medicines and accelerate the spread.
From WHO, that is BS. They've done nothing but drag their feet and postpone and try to let this thing become an epidemic. With that, I think we all know about Agenda 21, One World Order, and several other plans that they've had with Mr. Microsoft. There was Event 201 30 days ago. All these things I've just said, go back and look them up yourself. So we've got One World Order, Agenda 21 involving NATO, and Mr. Microsoft and other people, Event 201. You just can't make this stuff up. That we're expendable, guys. That's why Healthcare Sucks is here to bring you the news, try to keep you and your family safe. Again, with always, we use the free News Act. We do this as go out and research yourself. Never take my word for anything. Go look yourself. I want you guys, if I can do anything, I just want to point you the right way. And you go check it out, guys. That's what we're hoping. And if you listen to what I say, I try to back it up so you can see what's going on. Countries shutting down doorways or shutting access, blocking people. This is looking like a bad movie. 12 Monkeys, Resident Evil, The Stand. If it got really crazy, let's hope not, guys. But you know, the reason that they've had all these movies and video games and stuff, a lot of channels have been covering this. I haven't too much, but it's programming to where they let a little cat out of the bag, meow, and it squawks and gives us a little information or points us a certain way to either have us go this way or that way, or to just notify to less panic type thing to where this is coming. So get ready. And they've done that with the aliens, demons, and all this crap that's evil in our movies and TV shows. There's not a person that can't think that things aren't different than they were 30 years ago. Let's just say 20 years ago, even a decade. So with that, we'll do some more news coverage. Got the countdown clock going. I will keep you posted on that from time to time. And I hope you enjoy and have a safe, happy Super Bowl. Here's some more.
Of the virus. So let's introduce our panel of guests. In Hong Kong, Nicholas Thomas, an associate professor at the City University of Hong Kong. In Canberra, Australia, by Skype, Sanjaya Senanyake, a professor of infectious disease at the Australian National University. And from London, Mark Parrish, regional medical director.
And I'm going to save you that hypocrisy. I watched this part. They're going to tamp it down. It's only 2%, tamp. When we've watched my videos, again, they're trying to tamp it down. And to let it get carried away, I don't understand these idiots unless it is like one world agenda.
For Northern Europe at International SOS. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Sanjaya Senanayake, there in Canberra. Let me start with you, if I may, Sanjaya. I mean, the medical experts are telling us
know everything about the virus. I think we will get much better information about that virus in the next days and weeks, and we will then see how the outbreak progresses. But it's been contained and managed very well. Just to reinforce what was said before, most of us are not going to get.
That's food. That's impressive, guys, in plastic bags. I mean, when you basically take into consideration that multi-millions of billions of dollars of China's revenue, people that go to work so they can make money to pay their bills are now contained and quarantined and can't go make their monies. You know, this is not being covered. So is China going to cover everybody's rent? Is just basically put some red law out that nobody that owns property. I mean, what if you ran out of money? Do you go to the store, these places, and get free food now? They're not talking about the that kind of situation. What if you need meds? Are those people getting their meds and stuff? That is not being covered. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for those people. I'm concerned for here because I had a meeting with the doctor last week. It was an undercover video with not the doctor himself. He's a great guy. But with the staff and stuff, when I rolled into Salem Hospital, there was like, they had a station set up, and the people were like, they didn't know anything about it hardly at all. I educated them. Then I had security ask me to leave. But they did have gloves and masks out. They had changed the ER from where it used to be over to a new place through a gated situation. So they're preparing in some ways. Plus, CDC had not even contacted the hospital and has not contacted a bunch of hospitals, what I found out. So we'll watch a little bit more now.
This virus at all. If we do get it, which is very unlikely, we will get the symptoms of a cough and a cold that so many of us get during the winter period. It is very unlikely that we will become worse. And if we do become worse, then medical care is there to support us and help us.
I had to let you hear it. That almost made me laugh. So if you get the Wuhan virus, you're only going to get cough and a cold. Cough and a cold? Really? Come on, man. Oh my God, the hypocrisy. And then very few will get the other. And then he's saying, oh, and you'll be just fine. We'll just give you a couple pills and some antibiotics to send you home. Yeah. What he's not telling you is after they do that little, you're going to be just fine thing, then they pick you up in one of those bags, which I'll show you, and they haul your, wet away. It's BS.
2% of us at the moment look like we do die from it when we get it. Those tend to be, in fact, all of those cases so far have been the infirm and the elderly, and sadly, those are the individuals who are more susceptible to these. And
not true. The one in Philippines guy was only 44. He's not old and elderly. And 2%, I think it's going to be way higher than that, my friends.
So many diseases. So for us, it's a case of keep an eye on it. Let's look at where it's spread. There's a very good map on our website. You can see that spread, and and I think be realistic.
Let's bring in Nicholas Thomas there in Hong Kong. Nicholas, let me stay with the issue of public anxiety just for a second. I mean, is there a sense of panic in Asia, do you think? I mean, I just came back from Malaysia, where pharmacies there had completely run out of face masks and hand sanitizer. So what's the atmosphere like in Hong Kong? How worried are people there?
I think people are concerned, and they're getting more concerned here. I completely agree with the other two presenters.
It'll be after that. It'll be interesting to see if.
And that guy completely agrees with the other talking paid puppets. It's so puppety. And I'm here still. I'm just getting you another video, something a little bit more interesting.
implemented.
Many countries are now refusing entry to travelers who have recently visited China, against World Health Organization advice. New Zealand is the latest.
Much of this is because simply we do not know. We're in the very early stages of this virus, and there are still things that we're having to learn about the way it's being transmitted. So this is not an announcement that should cause any alarm by New Zealanders. It's precautionary. We're doing it in the best interests of their health.
Countries are airlifting their citizens out of China. A German Air Force plane delivered more than 100 evacuees to Frankfurt. They will spend the next 2 weeks under quarantine in a special facility. And in Indonesia, more than 200 evacuated nationals will be kept isolated on a remote island. Meanwhile, in China, production of medical supplies is being stepped up.
We have not been at home for 7 days and are working overtime to produce disinfectant. I feel glad to contribute to the epidemic control.
Supply lines have become crucial in the effort to contain the coronavirus. In Hebei province, companies are producing hundreds of thousands of medical gloves and surgical masks to support hospitals in Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak. And in Guangdong County, workers are busy building makeshift treatment rooms to handle the overflow of...
And in case you didn't catch it in some of my other videos, let's think about this. This is China that supplies dollar stores, Walmarts, and millions and billions of items. This is the place that has basically little cities that are set up to make things. I think I've said this in other videos, but just in case you missed it, we're not seeing those things. We're not seeing what those people are doing. So as far as them, they should definitely be able to supply their own country when you supply the world with goods. But, you know, I'm not knocking it for trying to help them. I mean, help them, whatever. But I also want to, this is critical. Think about this for a minute. We haven't seen military bases or military personnel. Remember, like daily, if not every other day, we were like, China's doing this, and it showed their troops and their bases. Russia's doing this, and it showed their troops and their bases. It's awful suspicious it's not showing them. I'm going to put to you that when this was taken from Canada, and then they took it and they monkeyed with it, which that's what they've done. They've 12 monkeyed it as a, what is it called again? Bioweapon. Yes. When they did, I'm going to put to you that they made a vaccine, and all the military in the hierarchy of, the presidents, royal houses, they've already had inoculate, and it's been tested on the people. So, it most likely, at this point, it works. Because usually when they create one, they create the other. That's how pharmaceuticals get rich. Back to the story.
Newly infected patients. Factories are working day and night to meet demand for medical supplies.
People across the country are concerned about the outbreak in Wuhan. What we ordinary people can do is small. I saw this company recruiting sewing machine operators, and I happen to have such skills because I used to work in the clothing industry.
Do you see that line of where they went and pulled 10? That's not even 20 people. Oh, let's stand in line to make this video and stuff. This is China, where there's 1.2 billion people. So at any place to get jobs or any kind of situation, there's literally thousands of people. Minimum hundreds would show up to this kind of thing. And you got 20 people? Yeah.
So I immediately came to help.
The number of confirmed cases of the coronavirus has now overtaken the SARS epidemic of 2003.
And for more on this, we go to Matthias Büllinger, our correspondent in Beijing. Matthias, we've seen this jump in both cases and fatalities. People must be getting really worried.
And yes, people are getting worried. I'm worried. You're probably worried. And we should be.
The new strain of coronavirus has infected thousands of people, mostly in China, killed hundreds in the country, and prompted the World Health Organization to declare a global health emergency. Here's what we know so far. Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that can cause potentially deadly diseases in mammals and birds. There are many kinds of coronaviruses, but only a handful are known to affect humans. Diseases range from the common cold to SARS, which infected more than 8,000 people and killed 813 in 2002 to 2003. Another well-known coronavirus is MERS, which was first identified in Saudi Arabia in 2012. At nearly 2,500, its rate of infection is lower than SARS but proved deadlier. More than 850 have died from it. In humans, coronaviruses are typically spread through airborne droplets of an infected person's fluid. It's believed SARS, MERS, and this new virus were first transmitted from animal to human, before being spread between humans. It's believed this new virus, officially 2019 nCoV, was transmitted from an animal to a human at this seafood and live animal market in Wuhan, China. Most of the people first infected with the virus had...
Let's run with that for 1 minute. Let's say it was from an animal, like they're saying. Even in that place, it was an animal. It could have been definitely an escape from their lab situation, which I doubt. They probably have good security, or was released on purpose, more or less. Because remember, they're talking about people that would sacrifice their own people to get to a winning situation. And think about it like this. Let's just say a third, like in the Bible, at one point during Revelations, it talks about, I don't remember which seal or which verse, but there's going to be like a third or 25% of basically the world will burn and etc. and people will die, and it goes into the oceans and etc. This is could be following right along those lines.
been to the market, which has been shut down. Since then, the virus has spread to others who had not been to the market. The number of human-to-human transmissions is rising. So far, officials are basing much of their knowledge of the coronavirus on what they know about the others. According to the World Health Organization, signs of infection include a fever, cough, and breathing difficulties. More severe symptoms include pneumonia and kidney failure. But since a lot of the symptoms resemble that of the common flu, the only real way to know if you've been infected is to be tested. There is no specific cure for this new virus, but there are treatments available for many of its symptoms. There are cases of people who have been treated successfully and released from hospital. Antibiotics are not...
I don't know if I believe that, guys. Do you believe that? I honestly don't know if I believe that statement that people are recovered and been released. I'd have to know somebody personally to tell you guys, my viewers, that. Because I'm deeply concerned.
effective because they only work against bacteria, not viruses. But patients hospitalized for coronavirus may receive antibiotics because bacterial co-infection is possible. Since this virus is new, there is no vaccine.
No vaccine that we know of, is what they're saying. And remember, this is a bioweapon. It came from Canada, which we haven't heard a word from yet. Went to China. I know they monkeyed with it. I feel in my heart that obviously once they get something, why wouldn't they? That's what people do with these things. tamper with them and make them a little bit more deadly. And what they said about antibiotics is stupid. First of all, yeah, they don't really work or made for, but then if you're in a hospital, then we might give you some to help with the other treatments. I'm going to tell you straight out, antibiotics do work. And yes, they give this big it's weakening thing, but that's an Agenda 21 thing. Because most of the time, actually, we've even got super antibiotics now. So depending what level you want to go to, we can hit it with different erythromycin, azithromycin, many of the basic ones. If you hit it with this stuff when it started to kick in, I'd say you definitely would have a better chance. But they've withheld these things from us for a long time. And that comes into the, again, Agenda 21 outlook.
For it, and it's possible there won't be one for years. People of all ages can be infected by the virus, but their symptoms are dependent on how healthy they are. Older people with pre-existing health issues such as asthma, diabetes, and heart disease appear to be more vulnerable to becoming severely ill once infected. Health officials say many people infected only show mild symptoms, which can be effectively treated. Though the number of people infected has surpassed SARS, this coronavirus is believed to be far less deadly. The mortality rate was 10% among SARS patients and 34% among MERS patients. Right now, available statistics put the virus's mortality rate at around 2%. Despite this,
which is BS, because we've heard as high as 20. I've heard within a week or so, or by my countdown, the 14-day from Super Bowl Sunday, we may see as high as 50%. When we get to that point, it's full blown. So let's hope it's 2%. But don't hold your breath. We'll watch a couple more minutes of this, then I want to show you a little bit of something else, and then I will let you go so you can get to the Super Bowl, because it's already Super Bowl time.
The number of infections and deaths have risen every day, sometimes dramatically. The WHO has declared a global health emergency, but it stressed it took the decision to help countries with weaker healthcare systems deal with the virus. Wuhan, which is believed to be the epicenter of the virus, has been under lockdown since January 23rd. Other cities in Hubei province, of which Wuhan is the capital, are under lockdown too. Road, sea, and air traffic is highly restricted as Chinese authorities fight the outbreak. Other countries have also taken big steps. Some are denying entry to people who have recently traveled to Hubei province or other parts of mainland China. A few countries are requiring those returning from China to enter quarantine. Hong Kong has taken steps to reduce the number of people coming in from mainland China.
And personally, done the healthcare stuff that I've done in the past, and I'm not a full-blown doctor, disclaimer, but I've done a lot with healthcare. Yeah, everybody needs to be quarantined that could have even had a touch or been around this. And I put this out in another video. Many people are hiding, guys. I mean, if you knew or could, they're hiding. Which means I'm going to tell you at some point in the future, this is going to be like knocking at people's doors and people have passed away in their homes. Maybe, hopefully not, but maybe even whole families, which is sad, dude. Dude and dudettes. Where does it go? I'm going to show you a little bit of something else now. And this is shot from in a hospital. And the beds are so short right now that they're actually bagging people up to make room right now in front of patients. Notice this guy's like, they're sick. And he's like, having to watch this. I mean, that has got to be a super downer and depressing. Talk about messed up. See? Very sad. Very, very sad. If you were in that hospital bed, talk about more depressing, watching that go on from you. They should have, out of decency, shut his curtain. I got something else I'm going to share with you that's even sadder. This is a little sad. This lady didn't have a mask, so the guy brought her one. I've covered that. Now this is sad, guys, coming up. This is sad. Babies on the other side that this doctor couldn't even have. I almost want to cry at this. If you've had children and you think of your baby that was like, yeah, look, almost a crying Chuck moment. Haha, it was a joke, but it's not. This is serious. If you've had kids and you've been through it, imagine having your baby on the other side of that fence or that wall, which in some special cases with illnesses, it's like that anyway, but in this case, and then have to worry whether your child's going to get infected because it's already a hospital where the rate is like enormous. Very, very sad. And I don't mean to be Debbie Downer. If your name's Debbie, I'm not picking on you. It's just a saying. So I'm going to let you get to the Super Bowl. And I hope whatever team you're playing for, I hope in the end you're playing for Team USA. And let's remember, one last time here, healthcare sucks! And so do plagues and viruses. 13 days, 21 hours, and 36 minutes, and the kickoff has already begun. Healthcare sucks, over and out.